And you probably hear the clicks of keyboards clicking away as everybody kind of gets wound up and ready for another Tech Talk Radio show. Joined with me, Andy Taylor, is Justin. Wait, Justin, I got to point to the right screen. Justin over here.
Hey, how you going?
And then down here, Slick.
On the bottom.
How did they do that on the Brady Bunch? I have no idea. Yeah, you have to look this way, then look down that way.
and sneeze to your left, will you?
Anyway, thank you for tuning in. A big week that we've had this week with E3. I started to get all the press info, which started actually on Tuesday, not on Monday. And I started to get all the press info on Tuesday. But then you had this...
That wasn't me.
What was that?
Me either.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure, Slick.
Ghost in the bug.
And then you had all this Apple stuff that happened this week with the Worldwide Developer Conference. So a lot of people, kind of tuned into that, and we're excited about what Apple had to say. I think it's absolutely huge.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but you, Justin, you think it's? I mean, do you think this was a big step for Apple?
I think so. I mean, I just also saw another tweet coming out right now. It said that an executive from Apple just talked about the iPhone 5 is going to be coming out pretty soon. So
yeah,
that's another big thing. But iCloud, all that stuff, yeah, it's a big part for Apple.
I think the rundown, and I want to get your take on this too, Slick, is that what's happening with iCloud is we're looking at it on the surface as being just this, content delivery system where people can store their music. And even if it's music that wasn't purchased on the iTunes store, but I think it goes far beyond that. I think we're starting to see now more, and I think I mentioned this last week in the show, that it's going to be more of a way that your OS will be able to access and utilize features from the cloud, from their distributed content. So you get your OS, it's installed on your MacBook or your iMac, or your iPhone or your iPad, and you say, okay, well, I really want to use this app. I want to use Final Cut. So you go to the cloud, and there it is. Everything is right there. And I think Apple is making the big jump, and I think they're trying to do it before Windows 8 comes out, because I have a feeling Windows 8 is kind of going to go in the same direction.
Yeah, there was some statement made, and I'll probably find it after the show as usual. But there was some statement by some Apple guy that gave you the impression that they're trying to be operating system agnostic, and they believe that's going to be the future anyway. I mean, they actually said it out loud, which shocked me, because I'm so used to Apple this, Apple that. Apple works better with Apple. Plug it in the Apple, plug it into the Macintosh, and you get all these, So I was really kind of surprised to hear that. This whole iCloud thing, though, I'm still kind of vague on a lot of it, only because I tried to follow WWDC and see what Apple had to say about it, and then what other people were saying about it. Then I think you sent me a copy of a press release about it, and then I went to the website to read about it, and I couldn't come up, at least from a Windows user perspective, couldn't come up with a clear picture as to what the benefit's going to be for me, what options I'm going to have versus, because I guess I've still been burned by the iPod and iPod Touch and iTunes, which is some things. Everything doesn't work on Windows. Everything works on Mac, but not on Windows.
Well, are you like me? Because I was kind of, when I got the announcement, I did the same thing you did. I went here and I read this, and we don't have the budget to be able to go and attend the WWDC, but I just thought, well, yeah, let's see what it is. And as I read more, I got more confused as to what it really is going to do. However, I think on the foreground, the competition between Google is intense. I mean, this is a I don't want to say it's a battle for Apple's life, because that's going way too far with it. But it certainly is something that they need to overcome. They need to take the lead on this if they want to continue to survive. And I think the battle with Google, the battle with Microsoft, is where this is all heading, and where it is going to eventually end up is what is available to the end user, the consumer, in the cloud.
Yeah, and then the big muscle flexing was the data centers, because Apple, I think Google showed off their new data center first, and then Apple did. Isn't that the way it went?
Yeah, I think that's where, and then Microsoft is coming.
Are they really? Are they building a new data center?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow.
Constant evolving. And did you see the announcement this week of what Apple wants to do on the Cupertino campus? They want to turn it into a spaceship. I don't know if you heard this, Justin, but they want to take the buildings and they want to turn it into a structure that looks similar to that of a spaceship. No, not one piece of glass that's not curved or straight. No straight glass anywhere. Underground parking. So when you walk, you drive up to this field, there is this huge spaceship sitting there.
Okay. Why?
Cause.
Nerd alert. I don't know. I mean, that's weird.
Yeah. Would you like to work in a building like that, Slick?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Yes.
Well, you know, if the Pentagon could be shaped a certain way, why couldn't this building be shaped a certain way?
Oh, come on. The Pentagon is just... The Pentagon is a building, not a spaceship.
Well, then it's not going to launch into space. At least we don't know that. But it's kind of... I just thought... when I read that story, I had to chuckle, but I thought, wow, they're really doing this. I mean, they went to the city of Cupertino and said, here's what we want to do. Here's what we want to build. Here's our plans. That's kind of interesting. All right, so we'll continue to talk a little more about Apple, but also the big stuff this week came from E3. You're right, Justin. You talked about it last week. Battlefield 3, as that being well received and people really wanting that. And
Absolutely.
I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, Battlefield 3. I mean, it already won Game of Show for the best of E3. It got the best shooter. Beat out Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, so that's going to be a big achievement for it. But yeah, Battlefield 3 is looking pretty hot. It's going to be a great game. Comes out November, they said, and it's definitely going to be. It's like we were talking earlier. It's a little bit different than the Bad Company. It's not so much like a story driven. There's still going to be a single player, but it's not going to be like it's all about one little team. It's just you're going to be this guy. So it's going to be more like Battlefield 1942, Battlefield 2142, which kind of wasn't very good, but Battlefield 3 is going to be the next big thing, so I like it. Looking forward to it.
Big advancements in gameplay we saw coming out of E3. A lot of people talking about the engines and just what you're going to be able to do with games now. And I think the one that started all off, people are saying is this LA Noire. That's kind of changed the way that the gaming is going to look and the gaming is going to feel.
Well, LA Noire is definitely changing the landscape of games because of the way they do the face mapping. And we talked about this last week a little bit, but what they did with LA Noire Rockstar, they hired all of the actors. So every person in the game is a real live actor, and then they set up cameras around them. And so all these cameras would record every single facial expression of that person during the conversations they'd have and like when they're speaking their lines. So when they would map this to the polygons of the character in the game, you're actually seeing the real facial movements of the characters. They look like the real actors. And with LA Noire, it's so important because you have to pay attention to the person when they're trying to lie or they're telling the truth or they're trying to hide something. So it's definitely going to be, I think we're going to see that in a lot more games to come.
But we're not talking here just about, when you talk about face mapping, we're not talking about like what they did with Benjamin Button. Did any of you guys see that movie?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
All right, so they took Brad Pitt and they face mapped him, and they got 126 different expressions that they created with a computer, and basically when he's old, that's not old age makeup, that's an all CG head, which is amazing. But
yeah, that was definitely different. You can't even tell the difference really.
But when you
looks like him.
When you think about it though, Justin, and just like you're thinking about it, this is a movie. You've got a set path. In a game, there's no set path. I mean, you've got to, if you want the game to succeed, you've got to let the gamers have the will to go to the left or go to the right or make an expression of anger or make an expression of happiness. I mean, it's got to be, you're talking much more computing that's going into it. So that's why I think LA Noire has been kind of received as one of this, just a groundbreaking game.
Absolutely. LA Noire, though, it didn't actually pick up any sort of best of show. According to G4 TV, they have all the best of show for E3, and LA Noire didn't get picked up on anything, which is surprising.
It makes you wonder, though. Do you remember Kingpin? And I was kind of like looking at the
movie.
No, Kingpin the game. There was a game that came out years ago, and I remember it being the gameplay was similar you had these characters that had facial expressions, and not just in cutscenes that would use the F word. That it was. I just remember that game coming out and it being very gritty, and this kind of reminds me a little of it. And I wonder if some of those people thought the same thing, even though it's years ahead.
No, I never heard of Kingpin actually.
Yeah, well,
that might have been a little bit ahead of its time. I think it's time though for this kind of stuff to happen. This new thing. Rockstar has always been on the forefront of new and better ways of gaming, making the next big thing. So I think this is the next big thing.
Any talk about a game title? Was there anybody saying anything about Super 8 as far as it being a gaming title?
Super 8?
Yeah, Super 8 based on the movie that just came out this weekend.
I mean, of course I heard the movie, but no, I haven't heard anything about it being a game. Have you?
I could totally see it being a game. I mean, all of these movies coming out now could be games. I mean, seriously, Green Hornet, game.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Green
I'm not
Lantern,
too happy
game.
about all that stuff. But yeah, a movie's a movie, a game is a game. All right, leave it at that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people want to play it. They go, I want to play this. I mean, how many of us saw Matrix when Matrix came out and thought, this is just like playing a video game. I want to play this. And then the game came out. It was really disappointing.
Yeah, well, like a lot of the movie games that come out are pretty disappointing. What's that? Green Lantern. Was that the new one? Yeah, Green Lantern.
Yeah.
That game looks just stupid.
No, Green Hornet. Is it green?
Well, they're got a Green Lantern game too now.
Oh, really? And that doesn't
Yeah.
look. It does look good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's coming out. Well, it's already out, and you can see how big of a response came out from it. Nobody knows that it's even out. So there you go.
Well, I saw what were you going to say, Slick? I'm sorry.
Oh, on a different game, but go ahead. Go ahead, Andy.
Well, I was going to say I saw the Duke Nukem 3D Duke Nukem Forever preview, and I don't know. It was weird because it was like in the preview that I saw, it wasn't the trailer. It was just like cut scenes from the game. He's inside a club and the girl's dancing topless.
Really.
And it was like that was the big thing. I don't know. To me, it's. I mean, maybe for a 15-year-old that's playing the game, that's going to be a big thing. To me, it's like, oh, whoopee.
That was it.
That was it. That's all I saw.
The game, what they say, it took them 12 or 14 years to make this game. I was talking about last week.
Yeah, because
the game come out and it's horrible.
How many engine rewrites did they do?
Well, they lost 2 different studios, so
Right.
the game got pretty much canceled twice. And then, it was like 3 or 4 rewrites. So, but still, even after 14 years, they still can't make a decent game. Give it up.
What's the best game you played?
The last
game?
Oh God, I'd have to say another Rockstar game, Red Dead Redemption.
I wanted to play that, but I don't think they put it out for the PC.
No, it's only console. But I tell you what, Red Dead Redemption it is completely open world like Grand Theft Auto, but yet you're so wrapped up in the story. Where Grand Theft Auto, you really can just get lost in stealing cars and beating up hookers. But in Red Dead Redemption, sorry, I mean it's true. But in Red Dead Redemption, you want to stay on the storyline because it's so involving. And honestly, I was just talking to my friend about this last night. At the end of it, not going to no spoiler alert.
Right.
But the game concludes, but it doesn't conclude, but it leaves you wanting to cry.
Well, I kind of felt that. I felt that the last time I got so into a game that I was emotional over it was probably the first Call of Duty. That was the one where they. No, think about it. That game. Now you're making me feel like a dolt.
I'm sorry. Go. I just wasn't expecting you to say Call of Duty.
No, I'm saying the first time I ever got emotional about a game. I remember, and I don't want to say emotional crying, but I remember playing the game and getting through the
story,
the Normandy, getting through Omaha Beach. Wasn't that Call of Duty 1? That was the first one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. But I remember like playing that, going, "Oh my God, I feel like I've just been in battle." I mean, it seriously was an intense game.
That kind of emotional. I thought you were just going to say you get emotional because, bawling your eyes out or something like the game was over.
No, that was Miss Pac-Man.
I thought it was going to be Mario or Sonic.
Donkey Kong.
Hey, don't you diss Sonic, all right?
Why the hell have they not come out with a really good... I mean, they've got Donkey Kong on the Nintendo, but I love that game. Playing that in the arcade stand-up, that was a blast.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do. But, going back to like the best game, and these games are coming more and more as we get better in technology and better writers and stuff like that, more expensive games to create. You're getting games that are more emotional and more involved. People actually get attached to these things.
Right.
Another aspect of the emotional is Call of Duty Black Ops, the zombie mode. Because seriously.
Okay, now it's my turn to laugh.
Yeah, I know, but hear me out.
There's a connection in zombie mode?
Well, there's kind of an emotional connection. I mean, you're talking about the moment you start playing with your friends, you immediately have this hope or this sense of hopelessness because you know you're going to die at the end of it. But it's also scary because you're in one little room, zombies pop up out of nowhere and scare the crap out of you. So I mean, it's you get kind of wrapped up on it. I mean, I don't know if you remember the original Resident Evil, where you're walking down that hallway in that mansion and that dog jumps through that window right at you. I mean, that's probably one of the scariest moments I've ever had in a video game. And it's kind of like that. I mean, you're in a room and there's nothing out, and all of a sudden this zombie just pops up. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of a little scary.
Kind of
Wait a
reminded.
minute, is this the Kobayashi Maru? What are we talking here?
Well, do you remember playing Castle Wolfenstein?
Absolutely.
And then they had Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which was, graphically a pretty fun game to play. It's that's where kind of the whole idea of the monsters and warfare came in, right? I mean, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, kind of. I
gameplay.
never really thought about it that way, but yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Now, Slick, you played a little of Call of Duty, but your game still, I think, was always Team Fortress 2.
Team Fortress 2 and Crysis are the two games that seem to appeal to me, but there was a commercial for one, and this game may have just died a horrible death, and it may not be any good. But the commercial caught my interest, and because I was hoping that what I saw in the commercial would be involved in the game. And correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, because maybe you probably know more about this than this, but I think it was Bad Company 2.
Oh yeah, I remember Bad Company 2.
Well, that's kind of recent.
But the characters were kind of comedic, at least in the television commercials were comedic.
Yeah,
Is it that way during the game?
It has a little bit. It comes from, I think, the original game to have that was, we were talking about earlier, Duke Nukem, having that comedic effect to the character. So, but it kind of takes it to a whole new level with these other games.
Also, it was a little comic relief. Do you remember the first game you played on your computer that you were for a PC game? Mine was Need for Speed, the original Need for Speed, and they keep putting out new versions of Need for Speed that. The crashes are okay, but the one that got me was Burnout. Burnout was suddenly the crashes were, shattering and the metal was twisting. I mean, it was really kind of neat.
Yeah, Burnout was pretty cool. That was another game changer. One of the games that kind of changing the topic, not really, but one of the games that came out in E3, they talked about a little bit in E3 this year, is the new Hitman. I don't know if you ever played Hitman before, but that Hitman is one of my favorite games, and in fact, let me just show you something a little bit here. I don't know if you can see this.
You really got into
stop. No.
But I've got the Hitman logo tattooed on my arm because I just love the game so much. So I just thought the logo looks. It's not really necessarily for the game. It's just because I like the logo so much. But yeah, the new and final Hitman is coming out pretty soon, and that looks sick.
I think he's the first member of the show that has ever had a tattoo, especially based around a game.
Yeah. Well, I've got Mario on my butt.
No,
don't stop. Don't.
Oh, that's great, Mario. Hey, you know what? Wait, hold that up. Hold that up. I want to take a look here. Do you see any resemblance?
You know what? This Mario cost me $35. I was in Japan,
really?
And it was one of those little claw games, and I wanted this Mario so bad. I ended up spending 3,500 yen, which is equivalent to about $35 to get this thing, and I still couldn't get it. And I finally just went up to the guy and I said, "Look, dude, I just dropped $35 in your machine. Give me the damn Mario." And they gave it to me.
That's pretty nice. That is cool. Now, is Mario as big in Japan as it was in the States, or is it still a big thing?
Absolutely. I mean, he came from Japan. Nintendo, of course. But yeah, Mario's huge. And with the new Mario 3DS coming out, don't even get me started on the Nintendo Wii U. That's again going to change everything, but I'm not going to pick it up. I don't want it, but it definitely looks pretty good. But yeah, Mario's huge in Japan.
Wait, are you for or against it though?
For or against what?
Yeah.
I'm for it. I think Nintendo needs to jump on the HD bandwagon, but they couldn't just come out with another HD system. They had to do something different, and by having these new controllers with the touch screens in them, the touch screens in them, allowing you to actually play the game without having to use the TV, I think that's a good thing. Definitely is going to be a nice feature to have.
Oh boy!
Wow, I didn't know you were going to be able to play games without using a monitor of some sort, external monitor. That's kind of neat, though. I didn't think about that though. When it came to the whole E3 thing, I paid attention, but I didn't pay attention because nothing jumped out at me. Nothing jumped out at me. Well, one thing caught my ear, and that was Microsoft.
The Kinect?
Master Chief.
Oh, Halo?
Halo 4, I guess, is coming.
Halo wow.
Wait, what?
Halo? They're putting out a new Halo?
I thought Halo was done because Bungie's not with it anymore.
Well, maybe there's somebody else picking
Halo
it up.
4.
Well, I'll have to look into that. I'll have to get back on you on that one.
Wow.
I didn't hear anything about it, but I mean,
I thought I heard correctly. Maybe I'm.
No, maybe I don't doubt it, but I mean, Bungie stopped working with Halo series, so Bungie's the one that created it. So you get a whole new creator. You're really taking a chance of having a game just completely flop, and I don't think they're going to risk the legacy of Halo on a new developer. But I could be wrong.
What was
got a new trilogy coming.
There you go. What was the game that Justin, you and I used to play when we worked at KTKT, and you would set up little towns, and then you would invade each other's towns? And Justin would always kick my butt when we were playing this game. I mean,
You mean Command and Conquer?
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Oh well, yeah.
That was fun. I wish there was a better version of that.
Well, there is a better version of that right now.
What would it be?
It's called StarCraft 2.
Really, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, StarCraft is a real-time strategy game. StarCraft came out, I don't remember when, but StarCraft 2 just came out recently. It's made by Blizzard. It's been one of the most highly anticipated games for many, many years. I haven't played StarCraft 2, but yeah, it's like Command and Conquer, but it's space-based. So, real-time strategy. It looks pretty good, but I don't think my PC can run it. I need to get a couple new parts to it. No, hint, hint, hint. So,
got a new video card for you. How about a new video card?
Too bad she's not here.
Yeah, here's a question for you guys, and maybe you can add some insight into this. I had a customer this week who brought me their HP computer. It's an HP Pavilion, and I want to say it's a 530, but it's a desktop system. And no video was coming out of the board. And the power, obviously it was spinning up. The fan was spinning and everything else. So I went ahead and I checked, tried to clear CMOS, removed the battery, tried to do that. It had onboard video, and that's what they were using. So I switched to VGA from DVI, tried that, nothing. You can hear the drive spinning up. You can hear the DVD-ROM, starting to come alive as it's going through the post. I put a postcard in it, and I was getting an FF reading on a Phoenix BIOS. So it's saying it's booting, but not getting any video on it. So I went online, and this really ticks me off. And apparently, lots of HP users have been having the same problem with this computer, which is about maybe a year and a half, 2, maybe 3 years old. So it's within the last few years. Actually, it's got to be older than that because it's got Vista on it. So it's got to be at least 3 years old.
Okay.
And a lot of people have had the same problem. The board suddenly just stops doing video. And it's not necessarily the board dead, so I went out and I bought myself, over at SW&S, which is a local computer vendor, a GeForce 8400 CS card. I got this for $39. And it's PCI Express. It runs under Windows 7. It's only 256 megabytes, but I figure, if you've got onboard video and you want to test local video, you want to put a video card in, which normally will turn off the onboard video and allow you to check it. But I put it in and nothing. So that's when I went on to HP's website and some of the forums that are out there, and a lot of people have had this issue. Why don't companies, when they have an issue that's like this, even if it's 3 years old, that many people have experienced the same issue, why don't they do a defective product recall on it? I mean, seriously.
They should have. They should have.
Seriously.
In this case, yeah.
You know, when a product goes out because of misuse, when a product goes out, and I say the same thing to Microsoft about its Xbox 360, the first versions that were out that had these heat issues, and suddenly, you know, you get the ring of death. You know, this is a point where you put out a product and it's failed the consumers. A product, you don't put out a product to last a year. You don't put out a product to last 2 years. You put out a product to continue the life of the product till you decide to buy something else. Or there's no more games. You go back, you play your other ones. Not till it dies. If it dies and they're all dying because of the same thing, it should be a defective recall product, and you should honor it and replace the product. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to be fair to the companies, I can't go all the way with you on that one, Andy. I can go some, but I can't go all the way.
Really? Even a product like a motherboard when it fails, or a graphics processor when it fails? I mean, shouldn't the life expectancy be considered to be at least 5-10 years?
You should. You'd think so. But I mean, to try to get a company to track down all the people that bought the particular product and try to recall it,
yeah, if somebody
just not going to happen.
Sold it and given it away.
Especially with a motherboard. I mean, if it was like a graphics card, I mean, it'd be a little easier. Just pop out your graphics card and go. But your motherboard means you're going to be completely without a computer, you know, while they're fixing that. So it's a little harder. I think they're just going to have to bite the bullet, take the negative press, and move on.
Well, I've had that happen. When Intel was going through its problems with some of its motherboards in the P2 days, I had to send one in to get it replaced. And, you know, it took a week, but I got another board, popped it in, everything was good. Had to reinstall the OS. And see, that's also the downside from this Slick. You know, and I agree. You know, you're saying, well, you want to be fair to the companies. Well, I think we have been fair to the companies when we go and drop a couple $100 on a system that we expect to last.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, you would expect it to last.
If they fail in the same area, then it makes you wonder, okay, well, wait a minute. This is not for misuse. This is just from use. You know, I understand car engines aren't going to last forever. That makes sense. And there are people who will misuse them by not putting oil and doing that. But on a motherboard, you know, okay, maybe you could misuse it by not putting in a surge protector. But generally, if it's failing in the same area, this is something that I think you've got a defective product you should be doing a recall on. And the Xbox was one of them that, you know, I ended up having to go in and changing it out to get it to last and work. And yeah, it was a cheap fix, but as a consumer, I shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, I think I've become jaded just by experience, mainly because I'm so used to manufacturers' warranties on hardware saying, you know, if you make it past 90 days, you know, there's the 90-day limit and there's that year limit, and you get past the year limit, well, you're on your own. So maybe that's part of my problem, where I've just gotten used to that. I've also become accustomed to, you know, like you said, $200 for a cheap computer or whatever. You know, I don't expect them to last very long at all. I just don't. I mean, if I dropped, and I'm looking for, I can't come up with a reasonable figure off the top of my head, but let's say I drop over $500 on a computer, I expect some service. I expect the thing to last a couple years at least. Over $1,000, over, you know, I'm looking at 5 years. More than $1,000 if I spend, which is, you know, the way I configure computers, if I spend $5,000 on a computer, that thing better last a while. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, that's the funny thing when people are building computers. You'll find that they'll cut costs, cut corners to save the customer some money. You can buy a board that runs $49, or you can buy a board that runs $359. You know, and it depends. What are the benefits of that board? Usually a little better construction, a little thicker board, so it's less prevalent to problems that can arise, and more capabilities of that board, more features. But anyway, so that's the downside too. Is we've got to replace if this customer decides, and that was the funny thing. Is I told him, well, I found out a replacement board is going to be, you know, $49 to go with a replacement board that with that chipset and that size to fit inside that case. However, we have to reinstall the OS. We can try installing it, and then just go through the blue screens until we get it fixed with the driver updates. But generally, it means, you know, you're going to have to reinstall the operating system, or you're going to have to get authorization for it. And that's installed on a partition on the hard drive, which has the footprint for that previous motherboard, which is going to cause some problems. Mm-hmm. So it's really just a pain in the butt.
Now, in the chat, Gandalf is putting some links up there to MSI and Gigabyte, stuff like that about the the warranties and stuff.
Oh,
So,
good. I don't know. Do you have a preference for boards, Justin? I know you used to build. I mean, I like Asus lately.
Yeah,
Intel.
Asus actually has been looking pretty good. They got that. Is that the Dragon? Is that Asus?
Soyo.
No, I mean,
Soyo
Soyo's
used to make the Dragon.
What's that new one from Asus that's like
$400-$500? Striker 2, Striker 3. They have some pretty awesome boards. But again, it's
Asus has been doing some pretty good stuff.
The capabilities of the clocking with those boards. Gigabyte is good. I know Gandalf put a link in there. I like Gigabyte for like my mom. I bought a Gigabyte system for my mom. I put one together for her. I put an MSI for the kids together. But like me, for business, and I'm not playing many games on them, I'm running Intel. And they're sturdy, they're dependable, and they've been really good to me. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I personally just like. I mean, I've kind of been out of the game with the whole building computers lately. But I've been looking more into it. But yeah, the Asus is definitely probably who I'm going to go with when I build my next system.
Well, all right. So here's a question for you, and maybe you guys can answer me this. What do you think? I'm running an Intel 57DD on the streaming computer, or the Skype computer that you guys are on right now, and it has onboard video. Would I be better off not going with the onboard video and going with just keeping this card rather than returning it, because the customer is not going to need it, and running this 256 megabyte card inside this machine that's being used for Skype and taking the video off the board and putting it to a card itself?
Probably, but can you take it back if you decide that it's more than you need?
I have 10 days. Well, I'd rather have be more than I need than to be less when I need. Like, I don't mind throwing away the $39 it cost me for this card, which is only DDR2 memory, just to if the performance will be a little better on this machine. Although I'm not disappointed with this machine.
I don't know, Justin. I say maybe we should try it next week.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. I mean, you can't. It doesn't hurt anything to try.
Yeah.
But what kind of processor is in that computer?
That is the i5 730, I think. Or no, it's an i7. It's an i7.
A decent processor should be fine. Yeah, maybe you try the graphics card next week and see what happens with it.
Well, this way, but the thing is, I only have 10 days to return it, and I've had it for 4 days. So, but I'm thinking, you know what? Every shop should have an extra PCI Express card in it, right?
True.
So,
yeah, especially if you don't have one. You don't have a spare?
Yeah, I don't have a spare. I don't have a way to really test it. I have one spare, but it's defective.
I'd say just keep it. Yep.
All right.
Keep it for the spare and throw it in next week, see what happens. And if it doesn't really do anything, then, well, take it back out. You got your spare.
There you go.
So.
Or I can sell it as a used card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, big story. Oh, speaking of this, and I know, Justin, you're running out of time here, but I've got to share this with you. This story that came out of Fullerton. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
Okay, this guy in Fullerton, California, had a repair. He didn't have a shop. He had a business where he'd go to your house, pick up your computer,
I think I know where this is going. Okay,
he'd take it back home, and he would fix things, and he'd repair your computer, and he was reasonable, and he provided great customer service. So with a few customers, they get their system configured and everything. They had webcams, the whole bit, and it would say on laptops too. He would fix laptops. It would say there would be a warning message that would pop up, and the warning message would pop up saying something about Steam, and then it needed your computer was acting slow, and it needed Steam. If you could move it, please move your computer to an area to help. Blah blah blah. Right. So these people, yeah, I know Justin's getting that look on his face. People would take their laptop into the shower. They'd use the shower. The laptop would be in the bathroom, and they'd get out. Well, meanwhile, this repair shop had their webcams on and was sending photos from their computer, emailing it to this guy. So he'd have access to all of these pictures, these women that he'd fix their computers, and maybe guys, I don't know. Supposedly, I have to say allegedly, because the charges have been filed, but he hasn't been found guilty of this guy.
Wow.
So
that's I hate to say it, but that's almost in a way of genius. I mean, to be able to convince somebody to do that. I mean, it's so wrong in so many ways, but I mean, come on, who's going to think of that?
This guy obviously felt it was going to work, and the crazy thing is, it actually did work, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
You were the one that told me about that. The guy that did the this guy stole my MacBook.
Oh yeah, this guy has my Mac.
Yeah, there's a whole website was dedicated to it. This guy has my Mac. I'm not sure if anybody in the chat room knows the link to it. They throw it up. But yeah, this guy had his MacBook stolen, and he might have gotten it stolen from a cab driver or something like that. So he had used the what's the program on a Mac that does that? That's the hidden program.
There's a couple.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one of the names.
I had that information a couple of weeks ago. This was a third-party product that I actually looked up and went to the manufacturer's website, because after all this story broke about a week later, the manufacturer finally put the story on their website that their software was used. Keep talking. I'll see if I can find it.
It's something like hidden or something like that. But anyway, so what this guy did was, there's a software that'll run on his MacBook, and when the guy that stole it was using it, he could log into this MacBook and get pictures from the webcam that was built into the Mac, so he could see who had his MacBook. So he had taken pictures for days and days on what this guy was doing, what he was doing with his MacBook and everything, contacted the police. The police found out who the guy was, went and arrested him, but it was all because of the software that was able to find it. So that was pretty cool. Cool story. I never knew that could happen.
This kid, this guy, I want to call him a kid. He's 20 years old, the one from Fullerton. He's a technician with a company that's out there called Resitech. Now, so I guess maybe he didn't own the company. He was
Actually, if you check the chat room, I put his Facebook link in there.
Well, you put the Resitech
the Facebook Resitech Facebook link, or
yeah, you put that up there and you go there and it's like statement regarding the arrest of Trevor Harwell.
Man. Yeah, here's the message that appeared on their computers, and I'm reading this LA Times article. It said you should fix your internal sensors soon. If unaware what to do or unsure what to do, try putting your laptop near hot steam for several minutes to clean the sensor. It says still images, videos, and cell phone videos of women taken surreptitiously were all seized from his computer. So they now the thing is, how did they capture this guy?
Yeah, I mean, did somebody somehow find out that he was sending pictures or what? I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Either that or what happened is somebody wasn't happy and took their computer somewhere else, and that person discovered it and said, "Wait a minute, there's a problem here." Because trust me, I would do the same thing.
Somebody just was smart enough to go, Steam, no way.
Wouldn't you do the same thing? I mean, seriously, if you were a repair shop, if I've had this happen, I've had people bring me computers, and you see something on there, you tell them, "Hey, do you know you had spyware, or you had this going on in your computer? It was installed. I found pictures of you in the shower, blah, blah, blah." It's probably what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
You really, this opens up that whole issue. You really, you talk about trusting your car mechanic. Okay, and I'm going back to the car analogy. Yeah, you want to trust your car mechanic because you want to know that he's fixing the things that need to be fixed. He's not overcharging you for something. But when it comes to your computer mechanic, it's like dealing with an investment guy. He's got all your personal information. He's got passwords. He's got access to photos. He's got access to videos. He's got access. So, you take your computer to this person, you have to trust them to know that, number one, they're not going to take that data. They're not going to do anything wrong with that data. And you know what? If you tell that computer repairman, listen, I have a computer, and this happened to me recently. I had a guy who lives in town that has a friend that's a cop with one of the local police departments here. And he wanted to have his computer work done because he's having some issues. However, he said he had some sensitive data on the laptop. That's fine. But he said he wanted to know that if he could sit and watch while I fixed the laptop. And I said, I got no problem.
Yeah, you should be able to do that.
Just have to schedule the time. And, that way I kind of like it. Because that way you can actually say, well, I charge by the hour. So he can see the work that you're doing.
Absolutely.
And he's going to pay you by the hour. So, that way you're focused on one product. You're helping him. He knows you're not taking data off of there. And you never know. I mean, this is I think that's very important to have that kind of relationship with your, person who's fixing your computer.
I think you should. I think I agree with that. I mean, the people get smarter and smarter nowadays, and like I said, with that Trevor guy that just got arrested, I mean, things like that happen. So to be able to request that, you do that. Now you take the place like Geek Squad or something like in Best Buy and stuff.
I think you're gonna be safe.
Yeah, well, you would hope.
Wait a minute,
so.
they've had their problems too. They've had their problems too in the past. Remember?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, that's true.
And they take your computer in the back room, and then they're gone for 20, 30 minutes, and they come back, and hey, it's working again. So I mean. You would think that you'd be safe, but you never know.
You do have to. They have to take it in the back in this respect because, if you've ever looked, when they test your machine, they plug it in right up front. And there's a monitor on it. Mm-hmm. If they've hit a porn site and it's got porn spyware on it, which sometimes will pop up a screen, so obviously the customer is going to say something. They've got to take it in the back. Because the last thing you want is a little kid walking through Best Buy looking over and seeing that, I mean, my
Mommy, what's that?
But I mean,
I want that game. That game right there.
I don't necessarily. I've never really necessarily had. More of it's been the small home repair shop or the small business, and we hear this story now about this kid, this guy that's done that. Now, is there a difference between somebody who has a company that has phones for all of its employees and installs spy software on those phones to monitor its employees, or even a company that has computers that installs key logging and spy software to monitor its employees on the computers in the office? It's a good question that comes up. People say, well, wait a minute, I don't want to be watched or while I'm online. I think when you work in a company and you have a computer that belongs to that company, then you have every right to understand that your company may be monitoring everything you do on that laptop or desktop and interpreting that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have a problem with that as long as it's stated up front. I mean, right up front.
Yeah.
We're going to be monitoring your phone calls. We're going to monitor everything. Once you cross this threshold, everything's monitored. Matter of fact, and, even warn them, hey, we monitor the parking lot. We got cameras aimed in the parking lot. So, don't go out the parking lot and, we'll be watching you.
Yep.
I remember when I worked for Lotus Broadcasting, they had installed cameras throughout the. Do you remember this? No, you weren't in the new building, were you, Justin? You didn't go to the new one?
No, I was already in. I already left for the Navy at that point.
They had installed new cameras in the hallways, which we understood. So everybody knew, hey, there's cameras. There's cameras at Citadel where I work now. There's no signs anywhere that say this area monitored. Apparently, I guess you're supposed to do that. But what was the big difference is once they started installing audio monitoring, that's when apparently the letter of the law came in that said that they had to at some point warn everybody that all conversations could be monitored.
See, I don't know about that. Audio monitor brings a whole new level.
It's a whole new.
But that to me, with this state, the way this state is anyway, Arizona, it's right to work state. So either you want the job or you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you think Arizona's bad. I mean, I live in California. It's even worse. But the thing is, right to work state. But you know what? You also still have the right to free speech. And if you want to be able to go out in the hallway to one of your coworkers and be like, oh, God, I can't stand our boss. He's pissing me off today or whatever. You should be able to do that in confidentiality and not have your boss listening to your conversation.
I just tell him to his face.
See, this is why you get fired.
I do agree that there maybe there should be a little compromise there where there should be designated privacy areas,
right?
And just something agreed upon between the employer and the employees, where they go, all right, we'll tell you what, if you go here and you want to make a personal phone call on your personal cell phone and not have it monitored, you can do it here, and we agree not to.
Right.
Well, but you can't even say that though, because some bathrooms are monitored.
Really?
See,
yeah.
Yes,
see,
you
man,
can't. I don't think you can do that. I think that's against the law.
It's bad if your boss
It may be against the law, but it has happened.
Your boss walks by you and said, "So you had the curry last night."
But you know what this goes to, too? This goes to the whole Opie and Anthony situation, which I actually agree with Breitbart on this one.
Right.
I mean, it's my whole problem with it was this. Before Breitbart entered the building or the studio, whatever, did he know that there was video monitoring? Because if there's a sign that said, we have security cameras, hey, tough. You shouldn't have pulled out your cell phone.
Good point. That's funny.
You know that TV show Big Brother? I mean, this is pretty much what business are becoming like. It's like Big Brother. You got the house or whatever, your office, and it's just every corner of it is audio and video monitored.
Right.
I mean,
now, here's one thing. I've always done this at, I think, my last two employers, except for Citadel. They wouldn't let me do it. and that makes sense because I'm only there part-time. But I have taken my own personal computer that is usually 20 times more productive than the computers they use at offices. I always seem to get Andy, we're going to give you the 386. We know you can make it work. So I'll take my own personal computer, and I have that with a monitor. Now, I do expect, though, that if I'm tied to their network, they still cannot monitor what I do on my keyboard. That's my computer. You stay off of it, even if I'm on your network.
Yeah.
If I'm using their email, that's something else.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's you got those little USB, key readers that you can pop on there, like that big, that just fit right behind the keyboard and key capture everything. You can get those at ThinkGeek for like $30-$40.
Yeah.
You're gonna find those in places too. I mean, yeah. So you never know if you're gonna be protected or not. You never know what's happening. Now, I mean, we got firewalls at where we work, and I can monitor every website that everybody goes to. So I mean,
right.
Where does it stop?
Yeah, you can kind of watch how often they go to Facebook. What wasn't there a radio station, Slick? We found out that they were locking out Facebook. They were locking out Twitter, Facebook, MySpace because they felt it was unproductive. But it was a radio station. Yeah, and not realizing that this is the tools of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, man, they'll never. Our brethren. I feel really bad, really sad, because it's almost like we never, I have to say we because they're our brethren, we never learn. We never learn. We do more damage to ourselves than we let the other avenues do. Television, newspaper, whatever, internet. We just could shoot ourselves in the foot more often than not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I never understood a radio station that will get rid of an entire news staff. And yet won't let the jock that's on the air have a television in the studio. If you've gotten rid of the entire news staff, you have no way of updating your news, then by God, you want to have it on CNN or your local news channel. So if something happens, you don't want to sit there and not know what's going on. That's just the way it is.
And it was just a report released by the FCC, which I'm kind of looking for. But there was just a report about information communities broadcasting to broadcasters, kind of like begging for help. And the FCC's going, hey, you're on your own. You screwed it up. We're not going to make any rules to help you out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been FCC's been getting involved in a lot of things. One of the most recent ones, too, LPTV, low power television. It's very interesting. I don't know. It's interesting. And I had a customer come to me this week. Let me see if I can pull this down. And they wanted me to install some software on their phone so they could monitor one of their employees because they think their employee was out there looking for another job and using their phone for this purpose. So I said, well, how are you going to do that? And they said, well, what we want to do is we want to keep a track of everything they text, everything they take pictures of, everything. So I said, well, it is your phone, right? And they said, yes. And they already bought the software for it. And it's called, I'll give you the name of the software. It's called Spouse Spy.
Oh, wow.
And, oh, my God, you should see how intense this thing is. It's about $80 a year. And I'll be honest with you, I did not install the software. I felt kind of strange about it. And number one, I also felt like, what if something happened and somebody came back to me and said he installed the software on it? Especially with the story about this guy in Fullerton. But it silently records text messages, GPS locations, and call details, and allows you to monitor BlackBerry, iPhones, and Android devices. Has GPS logs, SMS logs, and if I took a photo of that congressman that's in trouble or representative
Anthony Weiner,
yeah. Say I took a picture of him, and and I sent that to somebody. Somebody would know I sent a picture of Weiner. So that was supposed to be funny. You guys didn't laugh.
You know what? It's been a week of Weiner jokes. It's just a constant Weiner all week. So I think everybody's now trying to be serious. They've gone to the other side now.
I think your reaction was better than the joke was. But I mean, that's exactly that's what he wanted installed. So what, and I don't understand this guy. How old is this guy? He's married. He's got a beautiful wife, and he wants to send photos like that over Twitter. Did he not know he was going to get busted?
Well, he tried it. It was supposed to be a direct message, but he that's how this whole ball started rolling, because he thought it was a DM and it wasn't a direct message. And then when he realized it wasn't a direct message, he tried to delete it from his profile, which he did. But there are some people, that monitor congressional accounts. I mean, just because they're either for or against the person in office.
Right.
And this particular group happened to be against Anthony Weiner, and so they copied it. I mean, they record every post that he makes.
So here's the thing: you've got a great position. You're in power. Just toe the line. You know what? If you're going to go do a random hookup, you do it outside. Don't do it via Twitter. Just do whatever you're going to do. You don't send a picture. And the fact is, you could send it to somebody and they can blackmail you.
Well, I mean, look at Tiger Woods. I mean, he was just doing his dirty thing on the down low, and he still got caught. The girl just exposed him. So I mean, no matter what you do, just don't do it.
Yeah, just
simple.
Yeah, just don't do it. And if you don't want to be married, fine. Then don't. And then you could be like, whatever. You could be single, and nobody's going to say anything about it because you're not cheating on somebody. Because now they're focusing on the wife. Mm-hmm. Who is she? Oh, she's pregnant. Which, that looks really good. But oh well.
It's just that most people had a somewhat reasonable expectation of privacy, and the world has to find out the hard way that no, you don't. I mean, the minute you step outside of your house, and even while you're in your house, there's still no total privacy in your house or in your apartment. It's still not there. It's not there.
The minute you turn it into pixels.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's crazy. All right,
but even that, remember they reversed that one guy's picture.
Which one?
There was a guy who had posted some pictures of himself, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it had to do with children.
Oh.
But he used, and if I remember again correctly, I believe he used Photoshop to spin his face.
Oh.
So you couldn't tell who it was?
Were they able to do it?
They just unspin it.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so they got
it.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, he should have used
he wasn't,
He should have used the Gaussian blur like I do on Gloria's face.
Stop. Is she there?
No, she's in the garage.
All right, guys. Well, I have to take off.
Cool. We'll wrap the show as well. So you'll keep an eye out, though, on more announcements that have kind of trickled out of E3, and maybe we can share some of those next week.
Yeah, I'm going to try to post some links on the blog. Put some stuff up there about the best of E3 and stuff like that. So I'll
all right. And Slick, anything else from you you're looking at this week? I know you just posted a blog about the headphones from Cobra.
Yes, I did. I don't have the blog open up, but check the blog and check the forum because I did post a couple of issues that I'd like to discuss with others in the forum. One I can remember was the installation of Linux along with some other operating systems on multiple hard drives, and I explained my experience, looking for some feedback from those experienced with Linux and Wooby as to their thoughts as to, well, maybe you should have done it this way, or yeah, that's fine, or how about next time go this route.
All right. Okay, cool. Well, we'll look at some of that stuff next week on the show. I'll try out this GeForce card and see if it's a little faster. We'll have results from our USB 3.0 test with the first edition of the Kingston drive and then the newer one, which we still haven't even taken out of the packet yet till we can test it. And then more information about Adobe CS 5.5. Actually, we'll have an interview next week, and I'll give you my results as far as trying out some of the different features of the Production Premium Suite and even Dreamweaver, which I'm playing around with. So y'all have yourselves a great week. This is Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Justin Lemmy.
And we'll see you later.